In our media, women are more often than not depicted as sexual beings, are objectified, and are shown in domestic settings in order to sell products or services. These trends in advertisements are harmful to women and children especially. A study done by the Nelson Company in 2009 that, on average, children ages 2 to 5 watch more than 32 hours of television per week, and children ages 6 to 8 watch 28 hours per week. Another study in 2010 found that children ages 8 to 10 watch, on average, 4.5 hours of television per day, or just under 32 hours per week. While a child's brain is developing, it is very impressionable towards images and messages it receives. These messages can leave a lasting impact on a child. Yet, unfortunately, not all messages on TV are good ones. Now, more than ever, advertising companies are using sex to sell their products. An analysis of Rolling Stone showed a trend of the sexualization in media. This analysis found that in the 1960s, 11% of images of men and 44% of images of women were sexualized, while in the 2000s, 17% of images of men and 83% of images of women were sexualized. These figures show an 89% increase of sexualized images of women. The sexualization of women in advertisements is not the only issue. Many advertisements also reinforce gender role stereotypes for women. In 2009, a researcher published a study in the Journal of the Academy of Marketing Science stating that in advertisements, women were 4 times more likely than men to not have a speaking role, 3 times more likely to be seen as a product user than an authority, 3.5 times more likely to be shown in a domestic setting rather than a work environment. Women were 2 times more likely than men to be seen in advertisements for domestic products like body care and cleaning supplies. Constantly seeing women depicted as sexual objects and in domestic roles can give children of all genders unfair stereotypes and expectations of women and girls. There is an increase of sexual harassment and objectification of women. Then these images inform society's ideas of how women should behave and what role they should play in our culture. Among girls, these images led to an increase in body and sexual dissatisfaction, eating disorders, low self-esteem, and depression. 91% of women report being unhappy with their bodies. 95% of those diagnosed with anorexia or bulimia are female. 50% of girls between the ages of 3 and 6 worry about becoming fat, and 80% of girls report feeling worse about themselves after seeing a beauty advertisement. Advertisements adhering to strict gender roles can actually inhibit the achievement aspirations of women. A study was done where groups of both women and men were shown commercials that either displayed traditional gender roles or reverse gender roles. They were then asked to write an essay about where they saw themselves in 10 years. Within a traditional group, the essays of the women focus on homemaking and having families more than the essays of men. In the same group and more than the essays of women in the other group. Within the reverse role group, the differences in the focus of achievement in the essays between the sexes disappeared. Additionally, there was no difference in achievement focus between men in a cross-group comparison. How can we change this? Currently, only 5% of advertising executives are women. If we incorporated more diversity and had more female voices present in the decision-making aspects of advertisement creation, many of the harmful images of women would begin to go away. We must teach our children that these stereotypes of women are unfair and that objectifying women is inappropriate. We need to take action because the children who are affected by these body images are our future. We want our children to strive to be whoever they want to be without having them feel like their gender or sex is holding them back, or making them feel less intelligent or less important than their peers. Our media has the power to mold our culture and the minds of our children. What sort of messages do you want them to receive?